This video is about representing situations algebraically and numerically. So we're going to look at two situations of comparing offers. So to make money, the soccer team plans a special project to take orders for roses and deliver them on Valentine's Day. The team found two shops, Roses Are Red and Flower Power. Roses Are Red costs $20 for the service charge, plus $75 for each rose that is bought. Flower Power sells its roses for a service charge of $60 plus 50 cents per rose. So based on the situation, we have a couple of different numbers here. So we have, what is the service charge for Roses Are Red? So Roses Are Red has a service charge of $20. And then it says, what are the costs per rose for Roses Are Red? So Roses Are Red sells the flowers for 75 cents each rose. So we're going to say 75 cents per rose. Now the other company is Flower Power, and Flower Power sells its roses for a service charge of $60. And each rose from Flower Power costs 50 cents. So we want to look at what the cost is for each rose at the three roses from each place. So from Roses Are Red, we're going to have cost equals $20 for the service charge plus 75 cents times 3 roses. So remember that we want to multiply the 75 times 0.75 times 3 first. So that gets us 20 plus 2.25. So our cost from Roses Are Red is $22.25 for 3 roses. From Flower Power, our cost is going to be equal to $60 because we have to pay the service charge, plus they're only charging 50 cents per rose, so we're going to do 0.50 times 3. So remember, we have to multiply 3 times 0.50 first, which gets us 1.5. We're going to add that to 60 to get that our cost is $61.50. So if we're going to write a dependency statement here, we would say that the cost of the roses depends on the number of roses in the order. So each number of roses gives us a unique cost because each different number of roses gives us a different cost. So in other words, we can say that the cost of roses is a function of the number of roses, which means here then that the number of roses is going to be our independent and the cost of the roses is going to be our dependent. So let's create a table looking at our cost of roses. So remember that for Roses Are Red, there is a $20 service fee, so we're always going to have $20. And then it's 75 cents per rose. So in this case, if we're in 12 roses, we're going to do 0.75 times 12. So in our calculator, we could do 0.75 times 12 plus 20, and that gets us $29. Then we're going to do 20 plus 0.75 times 24 roses, which we could all type in at once together if we want. We could do 20 plus 0.75 times 24, which gets us $38. Then we're going to do 20 plus 0.75 times 36 flowers, which we can type into the calculator all at once. And that gets us $47. So then we're going to look at, if we keep going up by 12 roses, we're going to go to 48 roses and 60 roses. So we have 20 plus 0.75 times 48. So in our calculator, 20 plus 0.75 times 48. And that gets us $56. And if we do it for 60 roses, we have 0.75 times 60 plus 20. Which gets us $65. So to figure out our cost of roses, which is C, we always are going to do $20 for our service charge plus 0.75 times the number of roses. Because when we had number of roses, remember all of these numbers were being multiplied with the 0.75. So we can use R to represent any number of roses. So if we were going to write an algebraic representation, we could say then that C is equal to 20 plus 0.75 R. So notice what stays the same in the charges. We can say the service charge, which is $20, stays the same. And the cost per rose, which was 0.75 or 75 cents. What changes are the number of roses and then the cost. So we could say the cost increases as the number of roses increases. So using our function rule, which is C equals 20 plus 0.75 R, remember that C is cost and R is roses. We want to figure out how much would 30 roses cost. So if we want to figure out how much 30 roses cost, we're going to put 30 in for R. So we would have cost equals 20 plus 0.75 times 30. So in our calculator, we can do 20 plus 0.75 times 30. And that gets us $42.50. Now, if I want to know how many roses can I get for $100, I'm going to put 100 in place of my cost C. So when I do that, I have 100 equals 20 plus 0.75 R. So this is an algebra problem where you're just solving for your variable. So we would subtract 20 from both sides to get 80 equals 0.75 R. And then we would divide by 0.75. And we would get 106.6. Now remember, they're not going to sell you part of a rose. And when you're buying stuff, they're not going to round up for you. So we would say that you could only get 106 roses. So let's do the same thing looking at the other company now with the Flower Power. So remember, Flower Power had a $60 service charge. So all of these are going to have a $60 service charge. And then we're going to add 50 cents per rose. So 50 cents times 12 roses for the first one. So we have 60 plus 0.5 times 12, which gets us $66. Then we have 60 plus 0.50 times 24. So in our calculator, 60 plus 0.50. You could just write 0.5, it's the same thing, times 24, which gets us $72. For 36 roses, we have 60 plus 0.50 times 36. So 60 plus 0.50 times 36, which is $78. Then let's continue the pattern. So for 48 and for 60 roses. So for 48, we have 60 plus 0.50 times 48. Which got us $84. And our last one of $60 plus 0.50 times 60. Which got us $90. So if I was looking at an algebraic representation, we would know that we have to pay $60 plus 50 cents per rose, so 0.50 times R, which would get us our cost. So our function rule then would be C equals 60 plus 0.50 R, where C is going to represent the cost, and R is going to represent the roses. So if it says how much will 30 roses cost, we want to put 30 in for R. So our cost is equal to 60 plus 0.50 times 30. So we can just put that into the calculator. 60 plus 0.5 times 30, which gets us $75. Remember to label your answer, so I have the dollar sign. How many roses can we get for $100? So we're going to put 100 in for the cost, and we're going to solve for R. So 100 equals 60 plus 0.50 R. We can subtract 60 from both sides to get 40 equals 0.50 R. And when we divide by 0.5, 40 divided by 0.50, that gets us 80. So we can get 80 roses for $100 from Flower Power.